But the first piece of breaking news that's coming in, the co-founder of a fact news website, Alt News, Mohammad Zubair, has been arrested by the Delhi police this evening for allegedly hurting religious sentiments, promoting enmity between two communities. The arrest comes just weeks after Zubair was the one who put the spotlight on suspended BJP leader Nupur Sharma's prophet remark, which had sparked outrage in the Gulf. So that's the latest that's coming in. Zubair, remember, has been accused of putting out statements which they say were against Hindu gods and promoted religious enmity. Shreya Chatterjee now joins me. She tracks the Delhi police. Shreya, what exactly is the Delhi police saying? Because this arrest comes barely weeks after Nupur Sharma was the one who was in the dock over the prophet remark that she had made in a television show. Shreya?
The case apparently pertains to an alleged tweet that dates back to 2018. Now, what we're learning from our sources in the Delhi Police's Expo unit, this is as per a complaint that they had received from a Twitter handle, based on which they filed a complaint, called him for questioning. Delhi Police says that he was evasive is why they've arrested him. However, it's clearly to mention that this tweet, on the basis of which Delhi Police has arrested him, is pertaining and dated back to the year 2018.
Arrested him, no, let's get this straight. They have arrested him, you're saying, they have arrested him in the month of June 2022 for a tweet of 2018. Am I correct? And it comes barely weeks after he was the one who had put the focus on suspended BJP leader Nupur Sharma.
Well, yes, Rajdeep, the case actually pertains to a tweet that was actually dated back to the year 2018. However, what the Delhi police says that during the time in court, these tweets are being tweeted by a brigade, which they feel that it's actually a design that they want to look into. Sources have also said that they believe there are certain Twitter handles that are working across the border to actually involve in the Twitter storms that are being created by Zoom, because they found him evasive during the time they called him to questioning regarding the matter.
Okay, so here you've got a case. It comes, as I said, barely weeks after Nupur Sharma, the suspended BJP leader, was accused of hate speech. And then the person who accuses her now himself finds is the one who's being pushed in the dock, being accused of hate speech for a 2018 tweet in 2022 June. Make what you will, but clearly this is a story that will echo. Already Jairam Ramesh, the Congress leader, has tweeted on it and accused the Delhi police of working as a handmaiden of the central government. We'll keep a track on that story. Let's move to the other piece of breaking news that's coming in at the moment. The big story that's coming in from Maharashtra, where, remember, the issue of who will form the government remains uncertain. Pressure now building on Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray to step down. That's the story that's coming in. Remember, there are now reports that Uddhav Thackeray had actually planned to resign last week, but was held back by NCP chief Sharad Pawar. Now we are being told that the Uddhav camp is examining today's court order, which has in a way given a breather to the Shiv Sena rebels, saying they cannot be disqualified at this stage by the speaker in the Maharashtra Assembly. Now all eyes are on the Maharashtra governor. Will he order a floor test? Will Uddhav Thackeray be ready to take on the rebels? Will he go in for a floor test? Meanwhile, news also coming in that the rebels have extended their stay in Guwahati till the 5th of July. So till the 5th of July, the rebels don't intend to return back. So all eyes now, of course, on Maharashtra governor. Will he, suo moto, call a floor test? Or will the BJP call a trust vote? Because many believe the BJP is the one behind this rebellion in Maharashtra. Now, Sahil Joshi, our Mumbai bureau chief, joins us. Sahil, plenty of action at the moment, but what it seems is that we are slowly but surely reaching the end game. Is there a real possibility that the governor now will step in and call for a floor test, or will both sides wait till the 11th of July to see what happens in the Supreme Court?
Well, I really doubt that both sides will wait till 11th of July, because something needs to happen before that. Right now, the court order has given, has kept this open-ended that whether the no confidence motion or the trust vote can happen or not. Because when asked by the lawyer from the Maharashtra government or by the Shiv Sena, the court simply said that right now they don't have that no confidence motion in front of them, and it's already complicated matter. When it happens, that time if somebody wants can approach us. So they have kept it open-ended. They have not given any specific ruling on who is the leader of Shiv Sena legislative party. And if you hear what the BJP, after the BJP's core committee meeting, Sudhir Mungantiwar, the BJP leader, briefed media, and he specifically mentioned that Eknath Shinde is the leader of Shiv Sena legislative party, and they're waiting for some kind of a proposal from Eknath Shinde. Only after that the core committee will react. But before that, what we are hearing is that on one side, in Uddhav camp, the pressure is building on Uddhav Thackeray, because he had earlier decided that he will resign, quit Varsha and go to Matoshri. But rather than that time, Sharad Pawar somehow managed to make him understand that explore your all options, only then think of resigning. Right now, what Uddhav Thackeray has realized that he's left with only 8 to 10 MLAs with him at this point of time. The similar situation in which Ajit Pawar was in 2019. Ajit Pawar realized the situation and he resigned rather than facing the trust vote in the assembly. Similarly, what people have been telling Uddhav Thackeray, that avoid any more embarrassment, just resign. But before that, they want to understand what are the legal options in front of them.
Right.
So one of the legal option remains is that if they are asked to go for the trust vote, they can again approach the Supreme Court, what the Supreme Court had said today, or they have to accept the fate that they don't have the numbers and just resign and peacefully let BJP and Shinde group form the government, because their fight for who is going to lead the original group will still be there in the Maharashtra Assembly till 11th of July. So this is what is happening at this point of time. On the other hand, the BJP camp is mulling options whether they should approach the governor or the governor himself should take the suo motu action and ask the Uddhav Thackeray government to prove his majority on the floor of the House.
So lots of possibilities still open, but what is clear is time is running out, it appears, for Uddhav Thackeray at the moment. Sahil Joshi joining us with the very latest on that story. As we said, this is all happening on a day when the Maharashtra political crisis reached the Supreme Court. And it was in the court today that round one of the legal battle seems to have gone in favor of the rebel Shiv Sena camp. The top court extended the deadline for the 16 rebel MLAs to apply to their disqualification notices and said nothing can be done about it till the 11th of July. The political battle, though, is playing out on the streets, both camps trying to show their strength. It's our other big story.
From resorts in Guwahati to the Mantralaya and Raj Bhavan in Mumbai to the Supreme Court in Delhi, the battle for power in Maharashtra is being fought on many fronts. The man in the eye of the storm, CM Uddhav Thackeray, suffered a blow on Monday. The Supreme Court has put on hold the disqualification proceedings against the rebels led by Eknath Shinde. The court has given Shinde and his supporters time till July 11th to reply to the Deputy Speaker's notice. It has also issued notices to the Uddhav government and the Deputy Speaker, asking them to submit their replies within 5 days. The court directed the Uddhav government to provide protection to the rebel MLAs and their families. The Uddhav camp is putting up a brave front despite the setback in the court.
फ्लोर टेस्टसाठी ते तयार आहेत की नाही हा पहिला प्रश्न आहे. आमची फ्लोर टेस्ट आम्ही सांगितलेले काय आहे. मला वाटतं एकच आहे, फ्लोर टेस्टपेक्षा जो कोणी पळून गेलेला आहे, काही काही त्याच्यात खरोखर आमचे पण आहेत जे तिथून सतत फोन करतात की आमची सुटका करा, त्यांना फसवलं गेलं आहे, अजूनही ते संपर्कात आहेत. पण ज्यांनी दगाफटका केला त्यांनी डोळ्यात डोळे घालून बोलावं आम्हाला की आम्ही काय चुकीचं केलं. ही माझी त्यांना फ्लोर टेस्ट आहे.
शिंदे जी, उनकी शिवसेना ये मूल शिवसेना है. ये जो उन्होंने कहा है, घोषणा की है, उस विषय में भी मंथन हुआ है कि अभी भी हमने वेट एंड वॉच करते हुए आने वाले दिनों में जैसी परिस्थिति निर्माण होगी फिर से कोर टीम बैठेगी और उचित निर्णय भारतीय जनता पार्टी पूरी साथ में आगे जाएगी.
The war between Shinde Sena and Uddhav Sena is spilling onto streets. From Shinde's stronghold Thane to Kolhapur, supporters of both camps held protests in show of strength. Meanwhile, the Enforcement Directorate has summoned Uddhav's trusted aide Sanjay Raut for questioning in a 1,034 crore land scam case.
देखिए, मेरा आवाज़ आप बंद नहीं कर सकते। आप ईडी की नोटिस भेज दीजिए या मेरी गर्दन उड़ा दो, मैं गुवाहाटी से रास्ते से नहीं निकलूंगा। जेल जाऊंगा ना, आप मुझे अरेस्ट कर सकते हो। अभी मैं बैठा हूँ शिवसेना भवन में, आप आइए, अरेस्ट करो, मुझे बुलाओ, कब आना है, मैं जाऊंगा।
As the fight gets messy, another Thackeray is quietly watching the chaos unfold. The MNS chief has spoken to Shinde, the man behind the storm. With the Supreme Court set to hear the case next on July 11th, is Maharashtra looking at a longer spell of uncertainty, or will Shinde and the BJP go for the kill? Bureau Report, India Today.
Now that's what's been happening in Maharashtra, but what really is on the mind of the rebels? Are they now poised to virtually bring down the Uddhav Thackeray government? Well, a short while ago, I spoke to Deepak Kesarkar, the Shiv Sena rebel MLA, who's emerged in a way as a spokesperson of the rebels who remain holed up in a Guwahati hotel. Listen in to what Mr. Kesarkar had to say. Are you ready now to approach the governor and go in for a vote of no confidence against the Uddhav Thackeray government, since you are claiming you have the numbers now, Mr. Kesarkar?
Sir, we'll have to consult the legal experts, and if required, we may take that decision.
Sir, you are saying you want to consult the legal experts. My question to you is, you have claimed you have the support of 39 Shiv Sena MLAs, plus you have another dozen independent MLAs. So you are in a position to bring down the Uddhav Thackeray government. What is stopping you from going to the governor, Mr. Kesarkar, if you have the numbers now, and saying, please bring in a no confidence motion, this government is in a minority? What is stopping you?
Sir, there are certain strategies which are to be strategized, which are to be decided by the top leadership, and they are into that process. And I don't think that at this point of time we should disclose it, but I can definitely thank for this result and the relief for our MLAs. And this is in a way victory for the democracy in Maharashtra.
No, let me get that straight. If the Uddhav Thackeray government does not go in for a floor test, you will go to the governor and demand a floor test after 2 days. Is that what you are saying? Your bookings in the hotel are till the 30th of June at least. So are you telling me come 1st of July, you will come to Mumbai, meet the governor and seek a floor test, sir?
Sir, that is a strategy. As I told you, it was almost like a war. They were trying to disqualify us. Every way they tried it. But finally, we had a justice. And I think they should take a lesson from this. They should step down. It would become more graceful. And that is my request to them.
You have written a letter to Uddhav Thackeray, and I will quote from the letter saying, this is a fight for Shiv Sena's self-esteem. We shall not stop till we win it. I request our party chief Shri Uddhavji Thackeray to consider view and make a new alliance with the BJP. Here you are writing to Uddhav Thackeray saying form an alliance with the BJP. Now you are telling me Uddhav Thackeray should step down. Is Uddhavji still your leader, or is Eknath Shinde now your leader? Are you now a new party led by Eknath Shinde, or are you still with the Shiv Sena of Uddhav Thackeray?
We are very much in Shiv Sena. We are the legislative party of Shiv Sena. We have a different existence. And Uddhavji still remains our party chief as the chief of Shiv Sena party. And I have requested him, because his present government is in alliance with Congress and NCP. Unless he gives his resignation and asks us to form a new government with his consent with BJP, then only this government will come into existence, and that would become more graceful.
Sir, but who will be the chief minister? Apparently, the deal is Devendra Fadnavis as chief minister, Eknath Shinde as deputy chief minister. Have you already struck this deal with the BJP?
I cannot say like that. I'll have to honestly here tell you that these decisions are taken on higher levels. So I'm just a party spokesman, and that means these groups, and that is our actually party in the legislative assembly. So my role is limited.
Mr.
If it is
Kesarkar, you are saying you are a new group, but a new group to avoid the
we are not a new
anti-defection
group.
laws may well need
are
to
not a
merge
new
with some
group.
party. Are you ready to merge with the BJP? Is that a
We are
possibility?
not- Let me complete, sir. We are not a new group. We are the original legislative assembly party of Shiv Sena, because it contained 55 members, 56 members initially. One of our MLA, he expired, unfortunately. Now we are 55. So that 55 or 56 people had unanimously chosen Eknath Shinde as their leader. So that position stays. It has not changed. And 14 or 15 people cannot change that position.
One is the fear that is being expressed by many people in the Shiv Sena, or their claim that many of you have gone to Guwahati not because of any ideological reasons. You have gone because many of you have ED cases against you. Many of you have serious investigations going on. You are trying to protect yourself. This is not about ideology. This is because you have struck a deal with the BJP. All ED cases, all IT cases will now be put on the back burner if you join hands with the BJP.
Sir, it is not at all like that. If you could claim, there could be 2 or 3 ED cases on our MLAs, but we are 50. Right now 51. How that number could come to 51? Sir, it is clear cut. We have told to our party chief that we do not go ahead with this NCP and Congress alliance, and we want Sena to be with BJP. Number of times we have told him, the matter was delayed, and because of that delay, we have come to this situation. Otherwise, it would have happened 1 year back, 1 year and 1 or 2 months, maybe.
Sir, Mr. Kesarkar, why did you all not object in November 2019? Today you are objecting. Today you are saying this. We should form a government based on Hindutva. Why did you not raise a red flag in November 2019? Why only today? Why only now, when, as reports are suggesting, ED is now tracking down several of you who are has cases against several of you, and therefore you have chosen this path? Why did you not raise this issue in November of 2019?
I can tell you the answer of this. Sir, we were told that Amit Shahji has assured 50% sharing of power in Maharashtra, and which is not the commitment that was made is not being honored by BJP, and that is what was told to us by Honorable CM. So Honorable CM's or Uddhav Sahib's pride or that comes first for us. Our party's pride, the commitments, that comes for us. So it was basically an adjustment to our principles. And then when we realized that these people are going to our own constituencies, declaring somebody as the next MLA, they are going to MP's constituency, they declare that he is going to be our next MP. So they want to finish the party because of whom they have come into power.
Kesarkarji, why don't you come back to Mumbai and do a face-to-face meeting with Uddhav Thackeray? Are you ready for it? Sanjay Raut is saying, why are you all sitting in Guwahati? Come to Mumbai, have a face-to-face meeting with Uddhav Thackeray. If even one of you, according to Uddhav Thackeray, says he is not fit to be CM, he is ready to quit and do what you want. Are you ready for a face-to-face meeting in Mumbai with Uddhav Thackeray, yes or no?
Sir, I had a one-to-one meeting with Uddhav Thackeray when 4 of our senior ministers were present. I briefed him about everything, but we have never asked for his resignation. He is linking 2 things. It's a kind of emotional blackmailing. Nobody will say that you resign because he is our leader. We love him. But still, had it been Shiv Sena and BJP in power as per your earlier pact, and it was to be divided 2.5 years, then also he would have resigned and given BJP the chance to form a government. So that was the original understanding. If the original understanding could not take place, that's why Congress and NCP came into picture. But we, from our own mouth, cannot say that you resign because he is our leader. It is as good as insulting him. So we'll not do that. He will have to think himself, and I think he should have taken the decision. We cannot insist that he should resign. Now the government has lost its majority.
You have any message? You have any message, Mr. Kesarkar, for Mr. Raut? You have any message, Mr. Kesarkar, for Mr. Raut, who is daring you to come to Mumbai, face the reality in Mumbai?
Sir, Mr. Raut's language, you must have realized it is very indecent language. And on the previous day, he says all Shiv Sainik should come to the road. And next day he appeals us, you come back to Mumbai to face those who are on the road. These kind of tendencies we have faced, sir, in Konkan. But I do not wish to fight with our own people. I want that peace should exist, and that is the responsibility of the elected government, and especially the CM, who is the constitutional head of the state. That is my only plea.
Aditya Thackeray is saying good riddance to bad rubbish. You have a message for Aditya Thackeray?
Sir, the previous day we were traveling in one car. That time he didn't thought that he's traveling with the rubbish. I know people like, Sanjay Rathod. Prior to his marriage day, he was in jail because he was a Sena worker. His in-laws said, you will garland your photograph and that marriage will be performed. Fortunately, it came out that way his marriage could be performed. Gulab Rao Patil has 17 cases against him, all political cases against him. Dada Saheb Bhuse, who worked day and night to establish Shiv Sena in his constituency or in his area. All these people are trash. Do we get elected because of you? I was also a MLA when I was not in Sena. That time I had defeated Sena with a big margin. But I don't say that. We have everywhere in each constituency, the candidate have his own merit plus the party's vote. Every party have vote in various parts of Maharashtra or anywhere you go. And then if it is added with the party's vote, you get elected. And that's why I think he's young. He should not use Mr. Raut's language. He must follow his father, who is soft-spoken and the new face of Shiv Sena. And he worked because he has a great future. All of us love him and all of us want him to be a great leader. And that's why he must have the patience. He should not talk like Mr. Raut.
I will ask you one last question. There is some talk that Mr. Shinde has spoken to Raj Thackeray of the MNS this morning. Is there possibility of you tying up with the MNS with Raj Thackeray? Would you prefer Raj Thackeray to Uddhav or Aditya as your future leader?
No, sir. Uddhav Sahib is our leader. Even Aditya ji is our leader. We respect them. And we continue to be Shiv Sena in the Legislative Assembly. And our request is that the original party also, led by Uddhav Sahib, should make a pact. And MLAs will also, of course, will be in the new government, whosoever they appoint, and will form a good government and will take Maharashtra to a great height.
So there you have Mr. Kesarkar expecting that you will have a government where the Shiv Sena will be in an alliance with the BJP, and he says that Uddhav Thackeray will continue to be their leader even as Eknath Shinde is poised to take over the Shiv Sena. Now that's the maha mess that's taking place, and the irony of it is while all this is happening, Assam remains in the headlines because rebel Shiv Sena MLAs are camping there. But the real focus in a way should be what you're seeing on the right hand side of your screen. The state is continually being battered by floods. Over 100 people have died, including children. Areas, particularly in Silchar, Lower Assam, badly affected. Over 22 lakh people now affected, thousands homeless, hundreds with no access to food or water and sanitation. The Assam government, meanwhile, well, one of its aims is to ensure that the Maharashtra rebel MLAs are well looked after. It's our ground report from a state ravaged by floods.
बेटा बीमार
बेटा पालसी नुहारी से मने देखो नाइते सोली केना केन हम डांगी पेला एना का अवस्था होइसे न माने सोली माने उठी परि नुहारे बिसना ते क्या
An entire house submerged. Inside, a child waiting for medical help. The family is absolutely helpless. The mother is in tears. Unless the waters recede, a doctor's visit looks unlikely.
तो हमें देखकर इनकी आंखों में आंसू छलक आए थे क्योंकि यही घर है। देखिए अब तो पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा उतरना शुरू हुआ है, लेकिन इसी घर में इनकी लगभग 11-12 साल की बच्ची है जो बीमार है और यहाँ से बाहर नहीं निकाला जा सकता है आगे किसी इलाज के लिए, अस्पताल के लिए। सबके घर ऐसे डूब गए।
हमार घर द्वार सब पानी डूबसे ক্ষতি হইছে ওখানে কিরকম করে চলমু ঘর সর ভাঙছে মানে চলতে পারি না পানির মধ্যে তো আমরা রাস্তা উঠতে আছি মানে চলবার মতন তো অবস্থা নাই
अब पानी उतरेगा तब बच्ची मतलब डॉक्टर दवाई चल नहीं पाती है।
ডাক্তার দवाई ডাক্তার দেখার কথা বলতে কি ওষুধ দিব না দেখে না
Not just in Moregaon, Assam's 28 districts are badly hit by the floods. 5 people have died in the last 24 hours. More than 120 lives claimed in total, including children. People are fleeing submerged houses to open grounds, only to find these flooded as well. As water rises around them, they are rushing to safer ground. The highway are covered in plastic sheets, and it is their home for now. Drinking water is the biggest challenge the survivors are facing today. Most of them are poor and vulnerable.
हम लोग तकलीफ यही हो गया, ग्वाल में पानी हो गया। आज 1 हफ्ता से यहाँ है और गोरू को तो दाना पानी जैसे जैसे चलाता है।
पानी आगे ले रहा?
हाँ 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 हाँ।
कहाँ? घरों में?
घर में पानी हम लोग को हो गया, बहुत पानी हो गया, घर डूब गया।
The afternoon sunshine brings respite, but as the sun goes down, their hope also diminishes. 564 relief camps and 116 relief distribution centers are functioning, providing ration by the government.
সরকারে দিছে রেশনের চাউল ডাল তেল पानी सब दिते
पीने का पानी सब
सब देते हैं चाल दाल सब तेल को चीनी जीरा सबको देता है
बिस्कुट
सब
दिया से
बिस्कुट
पानी है घर में इतना पानी है आज आते जाते बहुत परेशान होते हैं।
मन करता है कभी कि कुछ ऐसा कोई कर दे कि कभी बाढ़ आए ही नहीं, पानी ही नहीं आए।
घर में है वैसे बुट में किया।
The people of Assam are in grave danger and praying for the water to recede and their nightmare to end. In Moregaon with Shweta Singh, Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now on Assam are Shamkanu Mahanta, flood management experts, joins me, and Ratna Singh is a leader of the BJP in Assam. Shamkanu Mahanta, I want you to first tell our viewers how bad is the situation in Assam. Let them know. We keep talking about Maharashtra. Tell me what is happening in Assam.
Rajdeep, thank you. Thank you so much for taking this, the real issue of Assam. Assam is ravaged. Last few days across Assam, Tilsor is underwater like anything. Never before. Lower Assam, entire Lower Assam, entire Middle Assam is facing the fury of flood, which is never seen. On 17th June, 1,000 millimeter rain was occurred in Mosinram, which is at one day the rain was equal to the year-long rain in the whole country. The rain has been devastating this time and has created the flood. The pathetic situation on the road, most of the people are on the road.
Because
this is the reality of Assam.
Shamkanu, many will say this happens every year. Are you saying this is much worse this time?
As I told you, this is for the first time in many locations. Tilsor has never seen this flood. The extent of flood is 5 times more that is seen in Assam. It's an impact of the climate change. and this is happening. What I'm trying to tell here, Rajdeep, is that this is a problem. In a study done in 2016, 10,000 crores of worth of asset is wiped away by flood. So last 10 years, more than 1 lakh crores of asset has been wiped. Asset means government road, building, infrastructure, which is government infrastructure. So every year flood comes and no serious attempt has been done in Assam. There's a Ganga rejuvenation plan, but there is no Brahmaputra rejuvenation plan. We need a permanent solution to flood. This flood is happening, but it is destroying the economy of Assam in a big way. It is affecting the government resources. What I'm trying to say here is that there is an attempt needed, a comprehensive solution to flood. If China can control the Wangho River, why cannot Brahmaputra can be controlled? At least reduce the flood in terms of strengthening the embankments. The embankments in 1960 was set up in 1960s. These are all old. They need complete revamping, repackaging from modern technology.
Can I just take
still think problem?
Can I just take the issues? You've raised several issues, including the need for a Brahmaputra rejuvenation plan to Ratna Singh. Because Ratna Singh, during the elections, Himanta Biswa Sarma and his government promised that you will see that eventually floods will be history in Assam. We are going to transform Assam. The fact is that at the moment, BJP MLAs from my home state, Shiv Sena MLAs from my home state of Maharashtra and Guwahati Hotel, the Chief Minister has to first attend to what is happening on the ground. The fact is, after having become Chief Minister, nothing has changed. I know no overnight solutions are possible, but it would be good if the Chief Minister and his entire government focused on that instead of some of them going to receive these Shiv Sena MLAs. That's not the priority of any government.
Namaskar. I'm thankful to Aaj channel and all the national channels who are focusing the flood issues of Assam. I'm thankful to Sardesai ji. I'm saluting to all of you. Back in Guwahati, back in Assam, the flood is a very important issue, and I think nothing is more important than the flood problem which we are engulfed with the people of Assam, and I think it is a national disaster. Because this time what we have told, like what Mr. Shyam Kanu had told, that it's a natural calamity which we have not witnessed for a longer time. Because as you say that 1,891.9 millimeter of rainfall from March 1st to June 24th, it has taken place, and never we have seen such type of rainfall for the annual taking place in the 3 months. Now coming that what government has done and not done, in fact, after our dynamic Chief Minister, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma has come to power, lots of good things has been done with regard to the embankments, which we call as Mathauri in Assam, is the dikes which has been there. With the World Bank money which has come, lots of embankments have developed and has been made. And definitely the rejuvenation issue which you're talking about is in place. Lots of proposals are coming and things are going to take place. The embankments, number one, they had been made more stronger. Lots of problems were there regarding Brahmaputra and the tributaries. That has been solved. But this time, the flood which has taken place is unprecedented. We have never witnessed. I have taken birth in Assam. We are growing up here in Assam. Even in Guwahati, we face such type of rainfall, which we have never. So now the government
Shyam
is
Kanu,
doing.
you want to respond? Shyam Kanu, you want to respond? Ratna Singh is saying that they have done...
Let me say one thing, sir.
Yes.
As regard to our Chief Minister, twice in a week he has visited Silchar and all the flood-ravaged parts of Assam. He himself walked to the flooded waters, and day and night he is in touch with the people of Assam. He lives for the people of Assam under the guidance of Pradhan Mantri Modi ji, and people of Assam are loving him. He is with us. In fact, we are not attending to any MLAs or any people. Assam is a very beautiful place. Anyone can come and stay here. And I request everyone from the entire country can come and stay.
You have a lovely, beautiful state. It need not be a state for resort politics. But Shyam Kanu, you want to respond?
Nothing as such. But today the flood problem is the biggest one.
Okay, I'm glad to see that. And we are showing you pictures also of the Chief Minister walking through some of those flood areas. But Shyam Kanu ji, has any difference been made by Himanta Biswa Sarma, or is this only political talk for a studio?
First thing, there is a serious effort by the Chief Minister to go around and address the people in distress. That must be saluted. He has been going around the state, and in a short time, he has just become Chief Minister. What I'm trying to tell you, for many years, for the last 50 years, no attempt has been done for creating a permanent solution to Assam flood. Assam flood cannot be solved in 6 months, but there must be a strategy. The strategy is there, how to control the desilting process, how to strengthen the embankment. Right. Can you river link the different rivers of the country? Can you do a storage dam to control the river? Can you do a shelter center to stay in the time of flood? and during the winter they can become a cultural center. A comprehensive project is needed for Assam. A comprehensive project is happening for Ganga, but is not happening for Brahmaputra. Why cannot? Why not? Northeast is Brahmaputra is the lifeline of entire Northeast. For security perspective is so important. In need of the hour is not a knee-jerk solution.
Okay, but it cannot, you know, what you're saying, you're calling for a permanent solution. It can't happen overnight. It can't happen overnight. To be fair to Himanta Biswa Sarma, he has been in most of the flood-affected areas on the ground. However, from an optics point of view, to watch MLAs sitting and resting and relaxing in a Guwahati hotel of the Shiv Sena, allegedly supported by the BJP, even as the BJP government battles the floods, isn't great optics. However, I'm glad that that has forced some news channels to at least focus on the floods. I can promise you, I
just finished one line. Rajdeep, thank you. And this has given some attention to Guwahati. I'm happy about it. But our concern is not about that. Maharashtra is not our concern. Yes, we want Maharashtra to be prosperous, but we want Assam to be safe. Northeast to be safe from the flood. And for the government of India has to take the initiative. Last 60 years, nothing has been done for a permanent solution to flood. We want an effort. The Assam and the Northeast deserve an effort from government of India.
I take your point. Let Ratna Singh have one final point.
I'm sure a permanent solution.
Let Ratna Singh have a final point. Yes, ma'am.
Last, like what Sam Kanuji has told, last 60, 70 years, nothing has been done for Assam. In fact, now the BJP government under the dynamic leadership of Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma is gearing up, and we are gearing up. The people of Assam is with BJP and Himanta Biswa Sarma ji, and lots of good things have been done. In Silchar, I want to say the rain has taken place in a very big manner, but it was a man created because the Mathauri, the embankment was breached and it was some problems were there. And definitely a worst hit of flood situation we have seen. The people of Assam are doing the best. Even in the BJP from mandal level to district level to at the state level, we all MLAs, MPs are in their state region, in the regions of the districts, and they're working day and night with the district administration to fulfill the aspirations of the people and give them the relief as much as possible. So the BJP government is not doing anything but doing the selfless work for the people, for the dedication. We are dedicated to the people, and definitely Himanta Biswa Sarma is doing not any politics but selfless social work, which he has given, which the people of Assam has given mandate to the BJP
Ratna
and to
Singh,
the
I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there because now it will become just about how great Himanta Biswa Sarma is. Let's first pray for the people of Assam. This needs to, let's put the people first and not the politicians first. I think that really should be the message from Assam. I appreciate both of you joining us here on the news today. Assam should be in the headlines every night. Let's turn from there to our newsmaker tonight, who's former Union Minister Yashwant Sinha, who filed his nomination today as the opposition's candidate for Rashtrapati. Remember, Draupadi Murmu yesterday has already filed her nomination as the government's candidate, NDA government's presidential candidate. I spoke a short while ago to Yashwant Sinha. Listen in. Hello and welcome to this India Today special. We're joined by a very special guest, the opposition's candidate for Rashtrapati, for President, Mr. Yashwant Sinha, former Union Finance Minister. Appreciate you joining us, Mr. Sinha. Would I be right in saying that this is a token fight, given the fact that the numbers now appear heavily stacked in favor of the government's candidate, Draupadi Murmu?
My first response to your question is, I would be in the fight even if it was a token fight. But I'd like to correct you. According to my information, it's not a token fight. The numbers are not heavily stacked in favor of Draupadi Murmu, as you said. There will be lots of developments between now and the 18th of July when the election will finally take place.
The numbers, as I said, are heavily stacked. You can dispute the word heavily because Naveen Patnaik and the Biju Janata Dal, part of the opposition, has backed Draupadi Murmu also from Odisha, and the YSRCP of Jagan Mohan Reddy has also chosen to back Draupadi Murmu, as has Nitish Kumar. Now, without the support of these three parties, you do not have the numbers, Mr. Sinha. So the opposition itself is not united.
First of all, Biju Janata Dal or Nitish Kumar, YSR, his party, they were not part of the opposition party's meetings which were held over 2 days. And to tell you the truth, one never counted on them. And yet, I would only say that why is Biju Janata Dal supporting Srimati Draupadi Murmu? Because she comes from Orissa, isn't it?
Yes, but
so why would you take it for granted that Bihar, Jharkhand MLAs and MPs will not support me?
Is that what you're relying on? You're relying on Bihar and Jharkhand because you, of course, have been contesting elections from Jharkhand. But remember, Draupadi Murmu could be India's first Adivasi president, and Jharkhand has a large tribal population, sir. So the JMM may well choose to support Draupadi Murmu.
Rajdeep, it is your experience and mine that elevation of one individual does not lift the entire community. And we have various examples of that, including the person in front of me. I would very humbly request you to kindly go into her background and not go by the symbolism, merely the symbolism. You and I don't control where we'll be born. I did not control my birth. So how can birth be a disadvantage on which you don't have any control? But leave that apart. I have heard this argument a number of times. My only request is, please compare our respective track records in terms of what I have done for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and what she has done for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes.
But you agree that there is a powerful symbolism in a woman and an Adivasi becoming a presidential nominee versus Yashwant Sinha, several times finance minister, external affairs minister, but seemed to represent the status quo or seemed to represent the old order. She seemed to represent new order.
Before this, you'll recall, we had a lady who was a scheduled caste lady who was put up as a candidate for president. She didn't win because nobody raised this issue that you support her because she comes from the scheduled caste. Now this is being raised because this is how the government and the Bharatiya Janata Party want to fight this election. I don't want to play on their wicket. I have my own wicket to play on.
I'm coming to your wicket in a moment, but the fact is, sir, you're the fourth choice in a way of the opposition. The opposition looked at Sharad Pawar, looked at Farooq Abdullah, looked at Gopal Krishna Gandhi. After all of them declined, they've come to you. Could I say that you are a Balika Bakra? Would that be right to say, a sacrificial lamb?
I said in a press conference which I addressed today that even if I was the 10th choice of the opposition parties, I would have agreed to contest this election because this election, Rajdeep, is more than me, more than Draupadi Murmu. It is more than Bharatiya Janata Party, it is more than opposition parties. It is a contest for the soul of India. It is the soul of India which is at stake today. And therefore, I have agreed to contest this election. I said, if I were approached and I was the 10th choice, I would have still contested this election.
You're saying it's a battle for the soul of India. Here is someone who's a former BJP person who for years was in the BJP, now taking on a BJP supported candidate and saying this election is of the soul of India. Here is someone who supported Narendra Modi when in the lead up to 2014, now saying this is a battle for the soul of India.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I belong to the BJP. I had supported Narendra Modi in 2013-14, but then I did not have his track record of the last 8 years in front of me. Immediately after Mr. Modi became the Prime Minister, I started looking at his style of functioning. I started looking closely at the policies which were being followed, and you will remember that I came out openly against the policies of the government. And then I decided to quit the party. Why? Because I found that in no way the Bharatiya Janata Party of today is the Bharatiya Janata Party of yesterday. It is not the Bharatiya Janata Party of Mr. Vajpayee, which believed in consensus, not in confrontation. And this government, this party believes only in confrontation. It does not believe in consensus, and consensus is the soul of democracy.
So therefore, in a sense, are you admitting that you were mistaken in 2013-14 to support Mr. Modi, that you didn't know who Mr. Modi was? Or is this pure opportunism that say you had got some of the loaves and fishes of office when Mr. Modi took over, then you would have supported him? Is it a principled battle or an opportunistic statement you're making when you say soul of India?
It is a principled battle according to me, and I'd like to remind you, there is a popular misconception that the party denied me the ticket in 2014. Fact of the matter is, I myself refused to contest the Lok Sabha election of 2014. It's a matter of record that even from the meeting of the election commission, the then party president, Mr. Rajnath Singh, called me and said, please reconsider, because the election committee wants you to reconsider and contest this one last election. And I said, no, I have made up my mind. I will not be able to do justice to my constituency if I contested this election, and therefore I am out of it.
I come back to it, sir. You are saying this is a battle for the soul of India. Many will say that the Rashtrapati's position, in a sense, is a ceremonial post now. All the executive powers lie with the Prime Minister of India. Do you therefore really believe that a presidential election, in a sense, can be converted into a battle for the soul of India? Or is it simply that whoever has the numbers, and because the government-led alliance has the numbers, you win the election?
This will be very unfair to the high office of president to look at things in this way. The President of India, of course, is bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers, but the President of India has very well-defined powers under the Constitution. And our Constitution is based on the principle of checks and balances. And the President of India is one such check on the executive. And it is within his powers to tell the executive where the executive is wrong.
No, is it a check or would it lead to a confrontation?
No,
if you were President of India tomorrow, Mr. Modi as Prime Minister, someone whose style of functioning you don't approve of, would it only lead to confrontation?
No, it will not lead to confrontation for the simple reason that the President will advise the Prime Minister about how he should function, and the Prime Minister is bound to listen to that advice. Equally, I mean, just as the President is bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister should respect the advice of the Prime Minister or the President.
You know, in a way, Yashwant Sinha ji, 14 opposition parties have come together. But clearly, as I said at the very outset, the opposition itself seems divided. And there are those who today believe that increasingly we are becoming a country where the BJP is the dominant party of the day. Do you agree with that, that we are increasingly moving towards a dominant party democracy?
It is a very dangerous thing if this country were to move to a dominant party democracy. You know,
if that's what the voters want, who are you and I to disagree with them?
We can always tell the voters what is right for the country and what's not right, isn't it? I mean, that's what the contest is. It's not merely the contest for who puts the vote where.
So, but in a presidential election, the MPs and MLAs don't go by what voters or citizens want. They go by their party affiliations.
They go by their party affiliations, but it's still a secret ballot.
Are you asking for a conscience vote?
I am saying that if parties alone were to decide what the role of the party members will be, then why should there be a secret vote? Why should there be a vote at all? Then every party comes and says, you know, our numbers are for so-and-so, and therefore no election.
Let me ask you in conclusion, is there any possibility of you at all withdrawing your candidature between now and 18th if the numbers don't work in your favor, if Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, Andhra do not choose to vote with you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And if Odisha votes with my rival candidate, because she belongs to that state, I see no reason why Jharkhand, Bihar should not vote for me, because I belong there.
You're making a virtual appeal to Nitish Kumar to reconsider his stand.
I am making an appeal to the voters of these two states.
One final question. If there was your top priority, if you were to become president, or if you were to reach out to parties asking to be chosen as president, you're going on a nationwide tour, what is that one priority that you would have as President of India?
I would tell them that this is the role and responsibility of the President of India. Please elect somebody who will live up to that role and that responsibility, and don't elect somebody who will become the rubber stamp of the Prime Minister. Then there is no checks and balances.
You are saying Draupadi Murmu would be a rubber stamp president?
I am not saying that. I am merely saying that anyone who goes to Rashtrapati Bhavan and behaves like a rubber stamp will not be serving the Constitution of India.
On that note, Yashwant Sinha ji, we wish you well as you battle for the President's post. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yashwant Sinha, our newsmaker of the day. Let's take a break on this point. On the other side, we'll bring you the good news today's story. It comes from Kerala, where 5 youngsters are cycling for a cause. We'll tell you more. You're watching the news today. News without the noise.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999 892171.
Welcome back. Let's end tonight with our good news today story, where a group of youngsters have taken up the task of raising 18 crore rupees, a humongous task, by cycling from Kutiadi to Trivandrum for Mohammad Ivan, who is suffering from a life-threatening disease. Their battle is our good news today story.
These 5 youngsters are cycling for a noble cause. They are collecting funds for a toddler in Kerala's Kozhikode. For Mohammad Ivan, who is suffering from a life-threatening spinal muscular atrophy. Treatment that costs around 18 crore rupees is needed to save the life of the child from the genetic disorder. And time is running out. The money has to be collected within 2 months if the boy is to be saved. These youth from Kutiadi have embarked on their cycles to state capital Thiruvananthapuram, a distance of roughly 450 kilometers, to raise money for Ivan.
We've only achieved 10 to 20% of the goal, and we're left with limited time. With the hope, we all can do it.
The efforts of these cyclists have inspired locals to raise funds in different ways.
The people around this town has gathered from the hearing of the advice from the doctors to collect 18 crore rupees from people around Kerala and above, especially from Gulf countries also.
It's a big challenge that these youth have taken up on themselves, as the money required is huge. But they're not giving up hope. After all, a life is there to save. Bureau Report, India Today.
Nice story. Our image of the day comes from Germany, where US President Joe Biden walked up to Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the G7 summit in Munich, tapped him on his back, greeted him. Both leaders exchanged pleasantries, warmly shook hands. The images have gone viral on the social media. That's our image tonight of the leaders of the world gathering together. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubh Ratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.